Hey guys, Happy New Year. Oh, a little frog on my throat. Do you ever have one of those colds over the Christmas season? It just kind of puts you off a little bit. Anyway, we're talking today about recovering from the Christmas season and all the wonderful things we've done to ourselves. And I can tell you this much. It was a busy Christmas season. I got wrapped up in the Christmas parties, being out there entertaining, fun things like that. And I guess what happened along the way, like what happens to most people, I'm going to actually try and share this as I'm doing this as well, is that we end up kind of getting caught up in everything that's going on, right? And as we end up getting caught up in everything that's going on, we kind of think, well, you know what? It's going to be okay if I don't do this. It's going to be okay if I don't do that. And then all of a sudden, a month goes by and you realize for the first time ever, or maybe it's every year with you. And by the way, most people during the Christmas season put on about 10 pounds. Now, I think I put on about 7 pounds over the Christmas season. And I'll tell you what, that has, it has a real impact on you. As it has a real impact on you, what ends up happening is that we take a blow to the ego, right? I'm talking with some clients, I'm talking with some friends, and everyone's like, yeah, you know what? I'm sharing this message with them. I've got to get back into keto. I've got to get doing the right thing for myself. And, you know, for me, when I look at it right now, I can tell, you know what? Vanity takes over, 52 years old, and I notice I've got a little bit more puffiness in the face. There's a sure indicator that you've been eating some foods that maybe your body doesn't agree with. You've been drinking some things that your body doesn't agree with. You've been taking in too much sugar. Well, let's talk about recovery right now, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this video up for you, okay? I want you to be able to take advantage of this. Now, as you know, I'm an advocate of the ketogenic protocol, and I know that's not right for everybody. But here's the thing. You can still do this, and you don't have to, you know, if you've got liver conditions, kidney conditions, right? You can still do a low-carb diet that's close to a ketogenic protocol. So I'll tell you what, this is day 2 for me. I started yesterday. Now, a couple of things you notice. Your sleep habits change, and what you eat changes dramatically. You're going to have cravings, and there's going to be ways you can deal with it. Now, let's look at first things first, okay? Let's set a new goal. What are your goals for 2019? My goals are to be my healthiest self and my most focused self. Now, for those of you that have followed along with me know that, you know, years ago I was diagnosed with severe ADHD. The interesting thing about that is when I'm on a ketogenic protocol, I'm actually really focused. And I think when most people remove processed foods from their diets and cut down on sugars, they are really focused. So here's what I did yesterday. Knowing that it's going to take 3 to 5 days for my body to get rid of excess sugar, excess glycogens, I began a process of change. So, started off in the morning, you know, still had a couple of cups of coffee. I don't have any sweetener in the coffee. Okay, well, actually, sorry, I don't have any sugar in the coffee. I still had 2 sweeteners. One thing to be aware of, Sweet and Low still has a little bit of sugar in it. So you want to make sure that you don't get too used to having it. And the problem with using sweeteners is that it tricks your brain and makes you think that you want to have sweet things. If you're one of those people that you struggle with a pop addiction or any addiction like that, you got to stay away from the sweetness. Maybe you even need to stay away from the coffee. Here's the thing, though. You're cutting back on sugar. You don't want to be tasking yourself too much. The best diets are always, or the best changes in eating are always those ones that are sustainable. So let's talk about recovering from Christmas time. Now, if you've been a part of my Healthy Focus group, whether for a long time or a short time, you've been following along with me for a long time or a short time, you know that I've gone through a couple of really, really exciting changes in my life, from quitting drinking to actually losing 20 pounds in 4 weeks to doing all kinds of neat and wonderful things like this. I want to tell you this. In the 4 weeks of the Christmas season, a lot of times people will get out there, they'll celebrate, they'll overindulge, and they'll put on the weight, and then they just start beating themselves up. And it happens anytime we get in that celebration of life. Because let's face it, life is amazing, life is wonderful, yet we are our own worst critics. And I can tell you, going out on New Year's with friends and even trying on a new shirt that I got and realizing that, you know what, I got way too much of this stuff going on. Yeah, like I said, when I put on that 7 or 8 pounds, I went from about 204 to, 211, so it's 7 pounds. I notice it right around the midsection. It just sits as fat, right? And I'm looking at this and I'm disgusted in myself. And if you're anything like me and you're anything like some of the clients that I've talked to, some of the friends I've talked to, yep, we're all about beating ourselves up. Okay, let's stop. Because in putting that weight on, we actually had a good time. I hope you had a good time anyway, right? So there's a trade-off. However, moving forward, let's get back to the discipline. Now that it's 2019, let's get the discipline rolling along. And I want to thank everyone for joining in, Kathy and Savannah and Bernice and everyone else that's joining along for the ride. The video will be available afterwards. Now, if you haven't already got a pen and paper handy, I recommend that you get one handy right now. Here's the easiest way to change. And I want you to think of your body as this storage tank, okay? A storage tank for carbs, glycogen, sugars, all the same thing. And I want you to realize that as your body tolerates a ketogenic protocol really well, all you have to do is drain down that sugar that's in your bloodstream, that your muscles are holding, the glycogen stores in your body, so that you can switch from carbohydrate burning for fuel over to fat burning. Okay, now in doing that, you have to realize the chain. First of all, we burn carbs really easily, but not very well, because you know what? When we drop down in carbs, when we have too many of them, it's all of a sudden we don't feel well, right? And if you're sitting here going like, yeah, I don't feel well, then you know what that's all about. Dennis, thank you very much for joining in. I'll tell you what, moving forward, as you start to decrease the carbs, you want to make sure that you're getting the right amount of protein for your body so that your body can preserve its muscle mass. Okay? A lot of times when people go on diets, they just go on a crash diet. They think, okay, I'm going to cut the carbs, cut the protein. I'm going to take the calories way down. And then what ends up happening, they lose everything. But most importantly, they cut the carbs, they cut the protein, the body starts eating the muscle mass. We want to preserve the muscle mass. So we want to make sure that we're getting about half a gram of protein for every pound of lean body mass that we have. Now, I did a couple of measurements and I've determined that I'm, believe it or not, at 211 pounds, I am 28% body fat, almost a third of my body's body fat. So if I just do a rough calculation and take that away, that means that I have, I'm going to say, about 180 pounds, 170 pounds of lean body mass. You have that. I'm going to go on the high side of it. So I need about 90 grams of protein every day. Now that's for me. And I caution you on this. Make sure that whatever you're doing is, first of all, healthy for you. Second of all, sustainable. When we set a goal for change, and by the way, my goal for change, that 7 or 8 pounds, well, I'm going to take myself back down to 200. Okay, so I'm going to call it 11 pounds. And I will achieve that 11-pound loss by the end of January. Now, I know I can do that because my body's keto adaptive. I've been in and out of it before, and I love the feeling of being in ketosis. I love the focus that it brings. Because when we have a carbohydrate diet, that means our brain is functioning off the carbs. And a brain fueled by carbs, well, it's just harder to stay in the moment. It doesn't think as well. However, when we can make a change and we can start functioning off ketones, that's the good fuel for the brain. It really is. Now, we still need some carbs. And I'll tell you what I found that works for me, and I found that works for many people that do the things that I do and that are healthy enough to do it, you make sure that you keep under 25 grams of carbs a day. Now, I just started working out again. My Christmas schedule, I let everything that I was doing get in the way of doing that. When you start working out, take your time, let your muscles get adapted to it again, and really just take care of yourself. This is all about being healthy. Okay, now let's talk about this low carb, almost ketogenic diet this ketogenic way of eating. What I've done to get myself into it, and remember, we need that 3 or 4 days, 5 days to get the glycogens out of the body, the sugar out of the body. Here's what we're going to do. Okay, now if it seems like I'm talking really fast, sorry, habit. I am a speaker, and as a coach, I've got a lot of stuff to get out. If you need me to slow down, just say, hey, James, just slow down a little bit. Okay, here's what I did. Day 1, yesterday, started off a fast in the morning. So if I woke up and I was doing some reading, watching some videos and things like that first thing in the morning, I do my daily meditation in the morning, and I recommend a 6-phase guided meditation. If you're curious about that, by all means, all you need to do is connect with me. I'll give you some more information on that. And you can send me a private message here. Start the day with a 6-phase guided meditation so that I really can create a mind state that is healthy enough for my day. Okay? And then moving forward, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I keep the carbs down and that I make sure I'm enjoying foods that I like. Now, when I talk about the amount of salad that I eat and I have cheese and things like that, I know there are people out there that will say, well, I can't have cheese. I can't have anything. I'm lactose intolerant as well as being gluten intolerance. That's fine. Find what works for yourself. Okay? I made sure I got some avocados. And I make sure that I have the right amount of fats from avocados. I'm using coconut oil. I'm using almond milk. And I'm using all this stuff that is actually very, very low in carbohydrates. And when I look at a label on something and I see on that label that it has, it has 1 carb per tablespoon or 1 sugar per tablespoon, I want you to keep in mind, and people get confused from this, okay? A sugar is still a carb and it's located in the column underneath carbohydrates. It's included in the total. And if you look at it and you see it's got fiber in it, okay, the fibers are subtracted from the carbs. So if you have something that's really high in fiber and it's got a few carbs to it, just subtract one from the other and you'll find out that it's close to a 0. That's why foods like salads that contain, for example, celery, radish, cucumber, lettuce, broccoli, even cauliflower, certain peppers like bell peppers, a lot of those foods are considered a 0. Meaning that you can have a good amount of them. You really don't have to worry about having too many carbs because they have so much fiber in them that the fiber actually counteracts that. So salads are your friend. And by the way, this is the hardest thing that I found for a lot of my clients to understand. Fat is okay. Fat is the 3rd fuel source. And in ketosis, you want to burn more fat than anything else. And by most respects, we look at it and we say that you want about 70%, 75% fats to the proteins you eat and things like that. Now, that can seem like a real challenge, but if you notice on the labels of the foods you eat, okay, you'll find all the percentages there and all the actual grams there. I found a really simple approach to it. I use a program, an app called Stupid Simple Keto. Stupid Simple Keto. It's a red label with a yellow pig inside, and it's got all of the basic foods that you eat there. It's got everything laid out in front of you. So if you look at the food table on it, it'll actually give you a great idea of what you can have to eat. So let's walk through day 1. Now, remember, I said I was in day 2. So day 1, I started off with some chicken. I then had some pork. And then last night, I had avocado along with a fresh salad. And in the salad, I used Italian dressing. The Italian dressing had 1 gram of carbs per every tablespoon. And so I had about 3 or 4 carbs there. And then on top of that, I had some cheese. And of course, the cheese has a little bit in it, but not much. It's got more fat and more protein. Now, when you start looking at the foods that you can eat, because people say, well, keto diets are so hard. They're actually pretty simple when you know what proteins are, fats are, and carbs are. When you can keep the carbs down low. And remember, all of this is because you know that you're healthy enough for it. Just keep that in mind. You do this because you're healthy enough for it. And I know for some people, they've embarked on a ketogenic protocol and it's caused some problems for them. If you ever have any questions about it, by all means, check with a dietitian, check with your doctor, check with somebody who has a certification in that area. Now, my certifications come from Ideal Protein when I was a coach with Ideal Protein here in Lethbridge, Alberta. So I'm not talking out of my butt here. I'm talking based on things that work for me. And I know that everyone is slightly different. And keep this in mind. The diet must be sustainable. That's why most diets fail. That's why even somebody who goes through a great coaching program, like even Ideal Protein or even some of the other ones that are out there, even some of the coaches that we have here in Lethbridge are excellent at what they do, and they all have a slightly different philosophy. In every one of those philosophies, they want the diet to be sustainable, and they want the diet to actually be enjoyable and to be practical. And most of those diets, by the way, have reduced carbohydrates, reduced sugar. Now, moving forward, what did I drink for fun? I drank water with lemon juice in it. Okay, and this is the unsweetened lemon juice. So just a couple of drops in it, just to add some flavor. There are some really great unsweetened water enhancers out there that you can pick up at your local pharmacy. And yes, some of them do have sucralose in them. I generally want to stay away from ones with aspartame because they just give me the jitters. If you're one of those people, by the way, that thinks, oh, I'm going to drink Diet Pop to lose weight, I want to caution you on that. If you look around, and most of the people you see who drink Diet Pops, most of them have a weight problem. It kind of tells you what the nature of aspartame is. Everyone will tell you this. Aspartame basically tricks your brain into thinking it's hungry. It induces a stress condition. And if you're one of those people that eats when they feel stress, you definitely want to stay away from the aspartame. Stevia, sucralose, the protein powder that I use, because like I said, when you get up over 70 grams of protein, it's really hard to actually get much more than that in a day. That's what I find anyway. And so I use a protein powder. The protein powder I use is Lean Fit, and I get mine from Costco. It is low in carbs. It's sweetened with sucralose. And for me, it doesn't taste that bad. I've got chocolate, I've got vanilla, and a scoop in the morning, and I use half a cup of berries. Now, when it comes to eating fruit and doing a ketogenic protocol, you can have a limited amount of berries because they're high in fiber, they're low in sugar. And if you're curious about what your berry mix, your berry blend has in it, all you do is turn over the back of the package. Everyone's going to be slightly different, and you'll see what it is. Now, to be on a true ketogenic protocol, you need to be below about 25 grams of protein, 25 grams of carbohydrates a day. If you're working out, you can have slightly more. As long as you're not having so much sugar, so much fruit, so much sugar, and so many carbs that your body has to produce insulin to bring that level down. Because generally what happens is if you're producing insulin, and a lot of us when we get into our 50s and stuff like that, what we really find happening is that we get that lipid layer. When we put on that lipid layer, that tells us that our sugar intake was too high and that our body was trying to protect itself by storing that sugar, those carbs, as fat. Right? So we want to be able to give our pancreas a little bit of a rest. We want to be able to bring our insulin levels down, and we want to be able to have a reduced level of insulin in the body and proper blood sugar levels, because we want to get away from metabolic syndrome. You look around, you go out to the golf course, and you see a lot of people with Buddha bellies. And I'm one of those guys too. Before I actually started on this mission of change, I was what they call fit fat. I had way too much sugar in my diet, and of course, I had a bit of a big belly. Now, since embarking on the journey, this is the longest time that I've been at this weight. Even though I put on a little bit of weight, I will take that off in the next month. Now, what is your goal going to be? Now, by the way, I've only gone through day one of what I was eating. And what did I mention? Meats, full fat dressing, cheese, and salads. That is very sustainable for me. Okay, and even today, I had some pork chops that I cut up yesterday, and I had a couple more of those today. So I had about 8 ounces of pork chop, and I had some salad to go along with it. Now, moving forward during my day, I'm going to have protein, and I'm going to have some salad with probably ranch dressing on it. Right now, once you kind of get into this, you're going to find that it's going to be really easy to get distracted from it. Here's what you need to do. First of all, you need to know that you're doing this, and if you've done it before, you can do it again. Now, one of my clients was mentioning to me that they found it really hard to get back into it. One of the reasons why you find it hard is because you achieved so much success, and then it was so easy to go backwards on that. And then you look at it and you go like, but I really want to be successful again. Want is a low vibration. Let's change it around. Let's do this. Let's say I am so very happy and grateful now that I am getting back to my ideal weight. Excuse me. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm getting back to my ideal weight. Okay? We look at the past, we go, yep, Christmas time, I had a good time, I visited with friends, I celebrated the season, got together with family, it was amazing. And now, I am so happy and grateful now that I'm back at my ideal weight. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm losing weight. I'm so happy and grateful. Oh, by the way, I should say this too. The whole thing about losing weight, there's a problem. We never like to lose anything. We want to release it. And so we'll find a better way to say it. I'm so happy and grateful now that I am healthier. And in my mind, healthier means I'm back down around 200 pounds. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm healthier. I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm healthier. When you can affirm that very positive statement, I am so happy and grateful now that I'm healthier and I'm at a healthy weight. I'm so happy and grateful that I've turned my body into a fat-burning machine. And by the way, if you're, and if you have somebody who's a personal trainer and they say, yeah, you just got to get back to the gym and you'll burn it all off, keep in mind you put on that weight by eating. And the best way to take the weight off is to actually address it through your nourishment, through the food you're eating, as well as getting some exercise. Okay? Exercise will help to build up muscle. Muscle burns more calories. That's important. The greatest success you'll have, and you know what? I worked out 5-6 days a week before. When I talk about the days that I was fit fat, and I had about a 36, 37-inch waist, and when I would be on stage, and if you're on my Hypnotist J.R. Matthew Facebook page, you'll see some pictures there where I've got a vest on, and yeah, my belly sticks out in front of me, and I've got good shoulders and everything like that, but I had a lot of visceral fat. Okay, I worked out all the time. It wasn't until I addressed what I was eating that I was able to make that change happen. So, to me, there's proof to me that this works. There's proof to me that you can do this, you can make it happen. Okay, here's where it gets to be even more fun. Day 2, okay, now I know I'm depleting the sugar, the glycogen's in that glycogen tank, and I'm working my body towards being in ketosis. And the reason I am having so much protein, but not too much protein, we don't want to have too much protein, okay? The reason and that's why, by the way, Stupid Simple Keto. Stupid Simple Keto. That app is great because when I punch in the numbers of the food I'm eating, I find that my protein is good. I had maybe 1 gram of protein too much yesterday, and today I'm right on track. My plan for this afternoon, after getting through these videos and doing some more posts on my jrmatthew.com, is to go and hit the gym. Hey, it's Thursday. The weekend's right around the corner. Now, a couple of things to check here. How do you feel about yourself? Are you disgusted in yourself? I want you to take away that disgust. I want you to realize that, yeah, once again, you had a good time celebrating. You let yourself go. You allowed yourself to go back to the old ways. Now, new year, new time to celebrate. Get back to it. Here's the thing. If you're beating yourself up all the time, you're not going to be able to make this change. But here's one thing that we know. If you can beat yourself up all the time, you can also build yourself up. It's a little bit harder. We tend to be a little bit more negative. And you can do it. Okay? Now, for those of you that are coffee drinkers and those of you that like this ketogenic protocol, there's one thing I can tell you. When you initially get into it, you're going to have some cravings. I found one of the best ways to address those cravings, and they're going to be sugar cravings, right? One of the best ways to address those cravings is to keep celery and cucumbers on hand and have ranch dressing to basically to dip it in. And you can tell when you have a couple of stalks of celery with that on, or you have a couple of stalks of celery with cheese. I have a client who has celery and peanut butter. Never tried it myself. I just can't wrap my head around it. But you know what? I want you to do what feels right for you. And as long as it's low in sugar, low in carbs, you're on the right track. Because here's the thing. Over Christmas time, if you put on weight, you took in way, way too many carbs. Okay? Your body just couldn't burn them. And the combination of carbs and fat, so what do we have? Turkey, gravy, mashed potatoes, more gravy, stuffing, that's carbs right there. All of those things combined, fats and carbs, that is what causes you to put on weight. Okay? The fat and carb combination. When you can address that in your diet by reducing it, you're taking that first step forward. Now, there's a couple other things you need to be aware of. Okay? as you move forward with this, because your body's in transition, it's actually working pretty hard. So if you're not what we call keto adaptive, your body is going to want to rest more. You're going to feel a little bit more fatigued, and you're going to have sugar cravings. In your mind, you want to be able to affirm the fact that everything's okay, that you are getting enough sugar, or you're not getting enough sugar, you're getting enough food to eat, okay? Many, many times when I'm coaching people, they'll say, the cravings are just driving me nuts. Yeah, to the point that you let them. Do something simple for yourself, okay? Those cravings are driving you nuts, just stop it and say, hey, I'm okay. I'm getting enough food. I'm getting enough nutrients. Make sure you have a good multivitamin, okay? Because you're changing your diet up a little bit. You always make sure you want to have a good multivitamin available. The goal here is to make sure that you're staying as healthy as possible, okay? You want to stay as healthy as possible, and sometimes the best thing to do is just snap your fingers and let yourself know that you're doing okay. 1 second. Okay, nothing worse than having a little bit of a runny nose when you're doing a little live. The biggest thing, our minds tend to like to play tricks on us. You need to know that you're okay. If you're healthy enough for this type of approach to eating, and biologically speaking, this is a very natural way of eating, okay? And I realize it's not for everyone. Remember, the goal here is to do something that is sustainable and is fast and is effective. Now, for some people, when I talk about fast, I'm talking about, 2 pounds a week. 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds a week. That's sustainable. Because of my experience in this area, I'm going to push that. I'm going to go 3 or 4 pounds a week. And by the end of this month, I will have achieved my goal, and I'll continue to achieve it. Now, how will I know when I'm in ketosis? Well, for one, I'll know I'm in ketosis when my stamina changes, my recovery rate changes. Because in ketosis, you're burning fat. Your body has a ready store of fat there. And, if I'm sitting at 28% fat, hey, when I'm in ketosis, I can go a long time of, walking, even running at a safe pace, anything like that, anything that's healthy for me at my age and my health condition. The reason being is because the body will just start burning the fat stores, right? Kind of like being a diesel engine. Once you get it going, you go for a long time. And it's been proven, by the way, that some of the most effective athletes, the most efficient athletes in the world, Randy rides, the Tour de France, and even the Iditarod dog sled race. These are all people that basically function in a ketogenic state, in nutritional ketosis, because even when they're down to 14%, 15, 14, 10% body fat, they still have a lot of fuel there. It's a great way to exist. You just have to get there, and you just have to know that in this first 3 to 4 days, and remember, this is day 2 for me, in the first 3 to 4 days, things are going to be challenging, and they're going to be fun. And the words that you say to yourself will either tear you down or build you up. And honestly, it's not going to be that bad. You had all that fun over Christmas time. Now it's time to pay the piper. Now it's time to pay the price. Take a goal, write it down. What is your weight release going to be? If you're at, like myself, 211 pounds, you want to be down at 200. There's 11 pounds to lose in a month. And I look at kind of the journey that I'll take. So getting back into ketosis, working out. I do burst training. So it's high intensity interval training. And I do that to the limits of my body. And I know myself, and I won't get into the details of it. If you're curious about it, you can ask, if you're working out at a gym, you can ask your trainers there what the best way to do it is, and you'll find something that works for yourself, okay? I'll be doing some more lives like this and sharing a little bit more information on what works for me, and hopefully that gives you some ideas. Now, simple things in the morning. When you wake up, once you're in ketosis or you're getting that whole process kick-started, you're making sure you're getting enough protein, and you're increasing your fats, and you're decreasing your carbs. Fat Bomb Coffee. If you're a coffee drinker, Fat Bomb Coffee is a great way to start the day. And what is that? That's where you take your cup of coffee and you take a tablespoon of butter and you put it in the coffee, stir it around. People say, oh, that's gross. Can't stand the taste of it. Some of you may even be saying, oh, too much salad. James, it's too much salad. Well, it only takes a couple of weeks for our taste buds to adjust. Now, if you think about this, if you love pop and chips, it's only going to take you a couple of weeks of reinforcing the fact that they taste greasy and they're bad for you to get past that, right? You love yourself. And you could say something like, I'm so happy and grateful I'm releasing the need for junk food. Here's another useful tip for you. Write this one down. This is great. I'm okay for now. Okay, so now that I'm going back into ketosis, I know a couple of things I can't do. Can't have any alcohol and can't have any high carbohydrate foods, because those two things will kick me instantly out of ketosis. It's your liver that's responsible for getting you there, and your liver is going to make sure that it's processing any toxins in your body. And believe me, alcohol is a toxin. And if you have a couple of shots of it, guess what? Bang, you're out of ketosis. So I'm on a mission, okay? And this mission is all about love and life, and it's all about becoming a leader again, leading by example. I've got some amazing things that I want to do this year, and I'm making the adjustments necessary. So, fat bomb coffee, salads, cheese, whatever's good for you. This morning I had a scoop of peanut butter as well. I've got an avocado I'm going to have after this, and then I'll have protein shake, and I'll be all set in about an hour to go to the gym. I'll have had about 50 grams of protein by that time. There are amino acids in my protein powder. And of course, I took a multivitamin this morning. So my body's doing good. I'm making sure that I'm taking care of my body, which is really important. When you're younger and you do this, you've got a lot of latitude on it. You start getting older and you just need to make sure that you continue to take in the nutrients, the vitamins and minerals to keep your body and your joints healthy and happy, especially as you start working out a little bit more strenuously. Now, I love answering any questions on this. I realize this has been a bit of a long segment. It's about half an hour in length. I tell you what, I'm going to make it available. You can check it out. If you got any questions about this, by all means, connect with me. Go to my website. I'll post it below here, jrmatthew.com. And so that's my brand, by the way, for 2019. Is I am working on branding that. So everything's going through my jrmatthew.com. And I'll be doing more work on my JR Matthew Hypnotist page. And of course, Healthy Focus is there for you. It's kind of a resource for you. And for people that are interested in the actual program of Healthy Focus, connect with me on that, because that includes more personalized coaching and includes access to a special page on my website that nobody else has. And there are plenty of resources there to help you make the start of 2019 the best. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We're at the start of 2019. Okay? How we start this off, we're in day 3 of 2019. How we started off and how we move forward, man, that is going to make it the best. So I want you to keep that in mind. Okay? Why do we fall? Why do we have these hiccups? So we can learn how to get back up again. All right? Christmas was great. It was a time, hopefully a time of celebration for you. Hopefully amazing things happened for you. And hopefully it sets you up for a great 2019. No matter what happened, what weight you put on, or how far off the wagon you fell, now it's time to get back up. Hold it in your mind every day. You set that goal, hold it in your mind every day. I am so happy and grateful now that I am feeling better, now that I'm feeling healthier. Moving forward, feeling better and better. Important in this whole process, make sure you're getting enough water. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you're taking care of your mind and your body. And we'll move forward on this journey together. Any questions? I would love to answer those and share some of my personal stories with you. And I'll be doing that as we move along. My goal is to share. Life is good. And I want your life to be good too. Any thoughts, considerations on this? By all means, connect. Hit me up, james@jrmatthew.com, or send me a personal message here. I look forward to answering any questions you have. Have yourself an amazing rest of your day, and we'll be chatting very soon.